City of Kyle Ethics Commission meeting. Going to start with roll call. Starting with J.D. Sanford,
Here.
Casey Anderson,
Here.
Mario Perez,
Here.
Paul Hill,
Here.
Nicole Cloutier here, Nancy Fahey is absent, Mike Rubson.
Here.
All right. Moving on to item agenda number 2, approval of minutes. So, the first one we have is from the April 24th meeting. Everybody have a copy? Had a chance to look over?
Yes.
Any additions or changes?
No. I'll make a motion to approve the April 24th and 29th minutes.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor of approving both the meeting minutes from April 24th and April 29th, say aye.
Aye.
All, aye. Any opposed? Okay. The minutes have been approved. Next, we have item number 3, which is citizen comment period. The Ethics Commission welcomes comments from citizens early in the agenda. Those wishing to speak are encouraged to sign in before the meeting begins. The speakers will be provided with an opportunity to speak during this time period on any agenda item or any other matter concerning city business, but they must observe a 3-minute time limit. The first one we have is Mr. Howard Connell.
Is it on?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are again. I think tonight we're going to hear about legal sufficiency. I've been trying to figure out what that means, and I've come up with my own interpretation of it. And I've decided that legal sufficiency means no standing because citizens are not held to the same standard as ethics codes. I believe we, citizens, are all victims of a clever looting scheme of public funds engineered by our trusted city officials, facilitated by our city manager. I am referring to known city credit card abuses, claiming to be charges were required or necessary in conduction of city business to the benefit of the city, i.e. serving the public purpose, which is paraphrasing the policy of the credit card policy. I've been engaged in a back and forth with City Secretary Jennifer, who I have to tell you, she is really something. She's very upstanding, I think, up front, and I couldn't have done what I've done tonight without her. I really appreciate it, and I think she's very trustworthy. So anyhow, I asked this question. Does this mean, these are all emails, does this mean a citizen cannot file an ethics complaint against a council member for perceived credit card abuses? Or must it go through a council rep willing to bring the complaint in their own name? Jennifer, you can make a complaint, you just can't request an advisory committee or advisory opinion. Jennifer, or I say, what? And she says, but the credit card policy is not under purview of the Ethics Commission. For this one, the City Council credit card policy is not subject to ethics ordinance. That said, the Office of the City Secretary reviews the credit card receipts provided by council. I say at the end of the day, the ethics attorney unilaterally dismisses citizens' complaints claiming legal insufficiency, I believe to be a lawyer's mumbo jumbo for no legal standing. Ladies and gentlemen, what's the point? And why are we here? if we're locked out of challenging anything the city buys with our tax money. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Yvonne Flores Kale.
Good evening. My name is Yvonne Flores Kale, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. As a concerned member of this community, I want to address some issues I have with items number 4 and 5. Beginning with agenda item 4-1, most notably the potential cost of future hearings. I want to ensure the commission is not deterred by the costs outlined in the ethics compliance ECO in the backup material. Although I appreciate the information, this commission does not have the authority over the city's budget. With that said, I find $150,000 to be a nominal amount comparative to the following: $45,000 for a new public art master plan, $55,500 for an art in Steeplechase Park, and $360,000 for demolishing various downtown properties. There are also expenses like $50,000 for a city benefits consulting service, $79,065 for a quality of life study, and $500,000 for a new transportation master plan to replace a plan that is only 3 years old. Not to mention $787,731 for playground equipment and over $30 million in real estate, all of which the city has approved within the last 2.5 years. Next, I would like to discuss the duties of the Ethics Commission Officer, ECO. As stated in Section 2-275B, the first responsibility of the ECO is to receive and promptly transmit complaints and responses filed with the City Secretary to the Ethics Commission. Additionally, the ECO is tasked with investigating, organizing, and presenting evidence related to these complaints. Duty number 6 also gives the ECO the responsibility to review complaints for legal sufficiency, while duty number 7 allows the ECO to subsequently recommend whether to accept or reject a complaint within 60 days of its submission to the Ethics Commission. It is important to note that the ordinance does not grant the ECO authority to unilaterally dismiss any complaints. Thank you for concerns regarding the ex parte communication. Thank you for adding this to the rules. In doing so, I urge the Commission to consider adding a rule regarding interactions between spouses and significant others of the commissioners with respondents or complainants during these hearings. At the last meeting, it was concerning to observe the respondent frequently meeting and communicating with Chairwoman Nicole Cloutier's husband, Attorney David Glickler, during the breaks. The ongoing communication and encouragement from the Chairwoman's husband to the respondent created, at the very least, a perception of impropriety. How could residents present during the meeting be assured that the spouse was not going back and relaying information back to the Chairwoman? In closing, I would like to remind the Commission that complaints filed before the new ordinance was approved are still governed by the old ones. It's important the Commission review any such complaints using the previous rules while making decisions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Does anyone else, would anyone else like to speak? All right, with that, we will close citizen comment period. Moving on to item 4.1. At this time, we need to go into executive session. Let me get my note. We'd like to go, the Ethics Commission will now go into executive session to discuss items 4.1. Additionally, item 5.3 and 5.4, in accordance with Texas Government Code, Section 551.071. Goes there. So we are going to start with item 4.1. And this is regarding the dismissals and rejections for legally insufficient and improperly sworn complaints. We are going to, let's see, we've decided to go with awaiting an evaluation from independent legal counsel on the interpretation of the ethics code, and also recommending to the city council that the ethics code provisions be clarified. Is everybody good with that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oh,
Real quick
Oh.
before the,
Yeah,
the, the
could we have
motion
a
too, I think.
discussion?
Yeah, Paul, you had a specific idea for how to clarify the language?
Well, so first I want to say that my reading on it differs from some other people on the commission, and that's, it's okay, reasonable minds can differ. The way I see it, I read it as a duty of the ethics commissioner right now to forward them to us, regardless of their legal sufficiency or not. Let me find the exact section here. So under 2-274, where am I finding? Sorry, 2-275B, it says that ethics compliance officers shall, and then number 1 is receive and promptly transmit to the Ethics Commission complaints and responses filed with the legal secretary. My suggestion is to add legally sufficient before the word complaints. So it would read, receive and promptly transmit to the Ethics Commission legally sufficient complaints and responses filed with the city secretary. I think that that would harmonize it with 6 and 7, where the ethics compliance officer reviews for legal sufficiency and recommends acceptance or rejection. I think that having that pre-screening allows for the complaints that warrant review to make it to the commission. And so I think that that would clarify a lot, because the way I read this right now is that it's supposed to come to us whether or not it's legally sufficient. But I think that that clarification would help a lot.
right.
I know that was a very long-winded answer.
And by,
Nope, it's
you
one
know,
I agree with too.
yeah, and by saying that warrants review, I think what, we're not saying, well, that's not a big deal. What we're saying is that we, legally sufficient, if it's something that doesn't fall under our jurisdiction, then for it to come to us, if we can't make a ruling, we can't do anything about it, then, there's no point in it coming to us. That would be kind of the legally sufficient thing. And I believe there's already something in there that says it has to be properly sworn to for it to, properly filed and sworn according to the procedure before it can come to us as well. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And so Paul too, so I'm on the same page with the idea of it being a legally sufficient standard. That would mean that there would be, no possible way that, somebody would look at it and say this could result in an actual ethics violation. Would be kind of the standard that people have to meet for it to not come to us. So if there's any risk that, yes, this could actually be something, then it would, under the way you're describing, come to the commission. Is that correct?
Right, yeah, my suggestion would be basically if it states an ethical violation, right, and it's something that could be heard and adjudicated by the commission, then that would be legally sufficient to make it to us. But if it's something that it does not, state a ethical violation or is not something that we could adjudicate as a commission, then it would not come to us.
Okay. So the proposal is that we await on an evaluation from an independent legal counsel on the interpretation of the ethics code, and to recommend to the city council that the ethics code provisions be clarified.
Yes, I'll make a motion to await analysis from independent legal counsel and to recommend that city council clarify ethics code by official action, with the recommendation from Paul that we include language in section 2-275B, if I got it right, that it's legally sufficient is the qualifier.
I second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, so that is our decision on that one. Moving on to Item 5.1, consider approval of the findings of fact and conclusions of law for the Miguel Zuniga complaint that was dated January 29th, 2025. Do we have any discussion or changes that need to be made on that?
Oh, I'm sorry, Chair, is there a presentation from Sarah on this one?
That, yes.
Oh, the
when we got
oh,
the
I
actual
understand.
document, yes.
I'd like to make a change to findings of fact number 11 to add Robert Rizzo.
Okay. Because he was he testified as well, and
Because he
that's not
testified as
included
well,
on
and
there.
He wasn't included.
Okay. So can we make that change?
So then, Chair, I would move approval of the findings of fact and conclusions of law as written with adding Robert Rizzo as a council member who testified under finding of fact 11.
Okay.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I will abstain from voting on this item.
Thank you. On 5.2, considering amendments to the rules of procedure to include corrections for previously approved changes in addition of ex parte communications rule in the decorum for future hearings. So everybody has the copy of the amended, the proposed amended rules, and then it has the decorum in there. So there's the changes, they took out courtroom, we took out courtroom throughout and just changed it to hearing room. And then we added, under decorum, ex parte communications. It is a violation of these rules during the hearing and until final disposition is released. 1, for the complainant, the respondent, or any person acting on their behalf to engage or attempt to engage directly or indirectly in ex parte communication about the subject matter of a complaint with a member of the Ethics Commission or any known witness to the complaint, or 2, for a member of the Ethics Commission to knowingly entertain an ex parte communication prohibited by subsection 1 of this rule, or B, communicate directly or indirectly with any person, including the public, other than a member of the Ethics Commission, its staff, or the Ethics Compliance Officer about any issue of fact or law relating to the complaint. So, and there was also cross-examination was changed to questioning of the opposing witness. Questioning was changed, it was changed to questioning anywhere it said cross-examination, just to make it sound less intimidating. Rebuttal was changed to follow-up. Okay, and then under evidence presented on 2, the person who presents evidence has the burden to establish authenticity of the evidence to the commission to means of, I think it's supposed to be through means, to the commission to means of witness with firsthand knowledge or other means such as an affidavit or certification subject to the commission's acceptance by majority vote. I think that's supposed to say evidence to the commission through means of a witness. I think 2 needs to be changed to
Or
Through.
by means,
by
Yeah,
means.
by
By
could
is
be it.
better.
okay,
Yeah.
I can fix that.
Yeah, okay.
And Chair Cloutier, I did have, we had voted to add something to the preamble that I don't think made it. And so I just wanted to read that into the record again, and have that added to the preamble if we could. the language was, these rules are intended to act as a guide for hearings conducted by the commission. These rules may be amended at any time as needed by the commission upon its own motion or request of a party to apply to specific needs of the matter before the commission. We had voted to add that to the preamble, but I don't think it made it to this version, so I would move to have that added.
Can you provide that language to me?
Yeah, it's in the minutes.
Okay.
It starts with Chairwoman Cloutier moved to add these rules. It's on page.
Was that from the 24th or the 29th?
That is from the 29th. It's on page 11 of the packet.
Okay.
Yeah, so we just add those. I don't think that we have to do a motion because we already did a motion and voted on it. It just wasn't put in.
Gotcha.
Thank you for catching that.
Mhm.
So do you think the most appropriate thing to do would be to table the vote on this until the revision to the preamble is made as well?
I think that, like, we read out the language that needs to be on there, so as long as it's, I mean, it's the understanding that it's on record that it's supposed to be in there.
I
Okay.
think we can
So-
move to approve it with that addition.
Right. Can be moved to be approved with the addition of that preamble language, and then that change to, from to by
Okay.
means of a witness.
That being said, so in the preamble, it has that first paragraph, these complaint hearing rules of procedure. Is this a second paragraph after that first paragraph?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And then after that comes questions about these rules, which I'm not sure. Question about?
I would actually move to strike that phrase. It looks like it may just be like a hangover or something.
Right,
Okay,
Yeah.
and table of contents as well.
right, yes,
And
please.
table of contents.
All right. I'll tell you what, I can send these amended rules out to everybody. And if y'all want to go ahead and approve them, y'all can move to approve them as amended tonight. And then I'll send them out to everybody. If there's any other thing that is missed, feel free to let me know, and that way I can go ahead and fix it. Now, if it's not something we haven't already discussed, then we
Yeah.
need to bring it back.
Right, right.
Okay.
Okay, I move that we accept these rules with the revisions, with the added language that we discussed here, the strikeouts that we discussed here, and then the change from to by under evidence presented.
I'll second that motion.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, nay? Okay, so the new amended rules are accepted. Moving on to section 5.3, considering possible action on status and or disposition of the Flores Kale complaint. Do we have any discussion? If there's no discussion, then I move that we vote, take a vote on it. Do we have a second to vote?
Do we need to do the vote, or do we just call the vote?
Do we just need to call a vote, or do we need to move
I
to
need
go ahead and make a vote?
motion To know what's the motion?
To make a vote on this, on the,
To dispose.
To dispose,
to,
okay.
yes.
So the motion is to dispose of.
Well, I guess we're, to take a vote on
Okay.
it.
As to whether or not there was a violation.
Okay.
So do we just need to take a vote, or do we need to make a motion to take
We
a
should
vote?
make a motion, have a second,
Okay.
and that
then
way
we
it's
take-
clear what you're voting on, yeah.
Right.
Okay. So we make a motion to vote on whether there
Sure.
was a violation?
Yep, I'll take a stab at it. You can tell me if I'm doing it wrong. So I will make a motion to move forward with a disposition of the Flores Kale complaint.
And I'll second. All in favor?
Oh, I think it's a roll call vote, right, what we say?
Well, this is
Oh,
just that
sorry,
we're
the
going
motion
to
the
do
vote.
the
Yeah, sorry.
disposition where we make the decision.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So all in favor of moving forward with the disposition, say aye.
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 All opposed? Nay. I say aye, sorry. So we'll move to take a vote, movement for disposition. So we'll now take a vote on whether or not there was an ethics code violation. So each commission member needs to say whether or not yes, there was an ethics code violation, or no, there was not an ethics code violation. And we will do that vote by roll call. So first is JD.
I find no violation.
Casey,
I find no violation.
Mario,
No violation.
Paul,
No violation.
and I find no violation. So by majority vote, the finding is that there was no ethics code violation on the floor scale complaint. Moving on to item 5.4, considering possible action on status and/or disposition of the Alcorn Reed complaint. We are tabling this one at this time. We're not taking any action yet, and we're gonna leave that one pending. So, I think that is it.
Chair, one quick question. Do we need to direct the ethics compliance officer on the floor scale complaint to write the disposition, the findings of fact? Is that something that we have to
Yes.
direct within the vote? Okay.
Yeah, so we would like to direct our ethics compliance officer to prepare findings of fact, inclusions on the dismissal of the floor scale complaint. With that, I think that we're now ready to adjourn. Would somebody like to move to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All right. Meeting's adjourned.